書いてええわ。もう書いてええから帰ってください。もうそんなんいいですわ。あんな汚い食べ方してね。もうそんなんもうないですわ。もうむちゃくちゃですわ。
Chinese tourists are renowned worldwide for their bad manners, and it's no better in mainland China. Some say those people lack education or worldly experience. Actually, they are victims of the communist regime. It systematically destroyed traditional culture and disconnected its people from their cultural roots. It has turned them into people who only focus on satisfying their material needs, but forget their cultural roots. How did the Chinese Communist Party change the values of a whole nation? In the past, Chinese people followed Confucianism, and Confucianism taught people kindness, righteousness, propriety, wisdom, and faith. Besides, the Chinese also believed in Buddhism and Taoism, which value truthfulness and compassion. But those are the opposite of communist ideology that encourages fighting classes, hatred, and violence against each other and nature. When the Chinese Communist Party took power in 1949 through revolutions, it wiped out all the virtues that the ancient Chinese left to the Chinese nation. The party started to destroy the Chinese virtues by polluting traditional culture, such as the Peking opera. Traditional Peking opera promotes benevolence, loyalty, and integrity, naturally incompatible with the Chinese Communist Party's hatred of traditional culture. Therefore, the party began to try to take away the spirit of conventional Peking opera that the Chinese people have listened to for more than 200 years, and it proposed that Peking opera should be performed in modern dramas, serving socialism, workers, peasants, and soldiers. From 1964 to 1966, Mao's wife, Jiang Qing, adapted and rehearsed some works, including post-processing. Then, as a result, 800 million people had only 8 shows left, including The White-Haired Girl. Current affairs commentator Lin Hui said that The White-Haired Girl is one of the most well-known fictional characters, and it is also one of the most successful images created by the party to reverse black and white. How can the party make a lie through shows? In the Australian movie Mao's Last Dancer, we can see its methods. The film is based on the real-life story of Chinese ballet dancer Li Zunqin, who was chosen to study ballet at Mao's wife Jiang Qin's ballet school in Beijing. The party collects children and puts them through tests before they go to ballet school and train as little dancers.
They took our legs and tried to see how flexible you are, and put them up in all directions. And as they're doing it, they ask you, does that hurt? I mean, although probably hurt, but I just smiled and said no, because I thought, this is what Mao wanted us to do.
During school, communism brainwashed those children into believing communism was the best. Once, Mao's wife watched a ballet show at school, then gave directions to change the art. Any voices which were against it were removed.
听说好像是反革命吧？
怎么会呢？为什么？
Then Li Zunqin said that traditional ballet was forced to follow Mao's wife's direction.
In China, we were only allowed to dance the political ballets with guns, swords, grenades in our hands.
Returning to The White-Haired Girl, we will take a look now at this famous ballet. The White-Haired Girl was a story about Qi Er. Qi Er's father, a tenant peasant, was sentenced to death because he could not repay a debt to landlord Huang Xiren. Qi Er was used to clear the debt, being forced to go to landlord Huang Xiren's house to work. At the landlord's home, Qi Er had to work hard day and night as an enslaved person. She was exhausted from work, meaning she was also tortured. Outraged by the pain and anger, she took revenge on the landlord's mother. Then she was subsequently locked up by the landlord. An elderly maid of the landlord was very sympathetic to Xi Er. The elderly maid took the key from the landlord's overcoat in the living room. Then she opened the door for Xi Er, who fled. She fled into the deep forest and filled her stomach with fruit offerings in the temple to live through the day. Her hair became white, so she was worshipped by superstitious people in the village as a goddess. Later, she was saved by her fiancé, Wang Da-chun, who has now joined the 8th Route Army. The two went down the mountain, summoned Congress to fight, divided the land, and overthrew the landlords. In the final ending, the landlord was executed by shooting. Communist people rejoiced as they got vengeance. An actor who has devoted his life to the play, White-Haired Girl, Hao Zhongliang, pseudonym, once said the white-haired girl story was a lie. At each movement of the Chinese Communist Party, they used the story of the white-haired girl. Because of it, many landlords were denounced, beaten to death, homes ransacked, and deprived of their family's property. Moreover, the descendants of those landlords, each generation, were maltreated. Hao Zhongliang said, "After knowing the truth, I feel really sorry for myself, because we've been lied to for generations. Those ballets weren't classical ballets, and they weren't traditional Peking operas." Vina Li, a classical Chinese dance instructor who grew up training in this period of the Chinese ballet hybrid form, pointed out, there are many differences. Traditional Chinese dance has explosive starts and a sort of circular way of moving, rounded movements. You may ask how the Chinese people danced before the CCP appeared. Fortunately, there is an overseas Chinese company that has revived the 5,000-year history of China through their dances. Many people mistake it for a company located in mainland China. In fact, the company is Shenyun, which is based in New York. So what content do they convey, and how do they perform? The audience will tell us right now.
Oh, the show is phenomenal.
This is the best ever.
The way I look at Shenyun is this heavenly experience. I have never seen in my life so many amazing dancers, so many amazing and beautiful costumes.
It's really incredible to get a sense of Chinese culture and language and music and history all in one, and you feel like you're really getting a glimpse into thousands of years of Chinese culture.
Extraordinary. I mean, I grew up a dancer, but these girls and the men as well are phenomenal. The precision is so perfect. I could see their faces and their beautiful hands, and I mean, it was just...
Because these people are the best at what they do.
It sounded like it was pre-recorded, like it was so perfect, and I looked down and I could see all the orchestra playing. It was hard to believe it was actual live music. It was so perfect.
And to see them, dancers, the musicians, singers, everybody involved, it's amazing. It's just a pure joy to watch. But beyond that, the composition of it, the artistic director, DF, the work he's done to put all this together, it really just, on a whole, makes something really special and beautiful that hits in a place that you can't really describe. It's just something that's moving. It just really moves me inside.
There was a strong divinity and the supernatural. This is attainable. We can reach our Creator, and our Creator will help us. It gives me hope.
I've seen a lot of shows. I go to ballets a lot. I see a lot of theater. And I'm walking away from this very impressed, and I'll see this again. I'll come back and see it again next year, the year after.
I think it's for all people, and everyone needs to see it. Absolutely everyone.
Shenyuan's tagline this year is "See China before communism," but of course, it's precisely Shenyuan's aim.